This is Michael Gerace with Clearview Sewer Cams. We're located at 6445 Yarmouth Avenue, Reseda, California, 91335. It is Friday, March 20th, 2020, and we're at the front of the house. This is a large picture window right in front of us. That's our 4-inch ABS plastic mainline cleanout. And just going to show the front of the house. That's the front of the property. We're going to begin running through our 4-inch ABS plastic mainline cleanout. We're just going to zero out again. We're right at the opening. So our camera locator is zeroed out. We're going to start running through our ABS cleanout. It's a 4-inch ABS plastic sewer cleanout. Now we're running down into the ABS plastic piping. A little bit of overpour on the glue, a little bit of debris. No real problem with that. Appears that the sewer line has been replaced from the house, at least out to more than likely the city lateral transition, the 4x6-inch transition by the sidewalk area. A little bit of overpour and glue, but again, still in pretty fair condition. And now we're at this is our inspection tee. It appears at 24 feet 8 inches. We're just going to run it a little bit. It is our inspection tee. So we're going to locate this area, and this inspection tee is for testing. So we're just going to take a look and find out where we're located. There's a large tree in the parkway, so we want to see how close in relationship to that tree the sewer line is. So we're going to pause for a moment, put our locator on. Yeah. Five foot four right here. Okay. We are at approximately 5 foot 4 inches deep at the sidewalk area, and that's adjacent to the other flag in the grass. We're only about 4 inches into the sidewalk area. And this is a cured in place piping liner. There are some numbers at the top, and it will tell the mill how thick the liner is, but unfortunately where it's located is very difficult to tell. We may be able to blow it up on our laptop and be able to see the mill. We'll try that later. A lot of companies will use a 3 mil liner that is pretty thin, or a 3.5 liner, which I think this may be, but as I said, we'll blow it up later and we'll try and see what it is. We generally try to use a 4 mil or even a 5 mil liner. This way it's much heavier gauge, much thicker, don't have as many issues with it. This appears to be lined over vitreous clay. And we've got a ripple in the joint right there, which is kind of common with some offsets and some separations in the liners. So far the liner doesn't look to be in terrible condition. Looks to be fairly smooth. Just telling the distance, we got 55, 54, 53. So it's just telling where they cut the liner at. It's not actually how long the liner is, because the liner is only probably about 35 feet long total. Running in further, we got a pretty good ripple right here. You got a bubble and you got a ripple in the liner right there, which doesn't look to me like it adhered to the piping too well. Now that can cause a problem. That is in the street, and that can cause a problem eventually, and if it does, it may have to be cut out and possibly pull a trenchless sewer line, excavate in the street and pull a trenchless sewer line. You have to be very careful when you own a property with a sewer liner, that you also are aware of it, and you make anybody aware. If you have an issue, you have a stoppage, do not let anybody run a snake with blades down this line, because they can cut that liner very easily. If it hasn't adhered to the side properly, it's weak and you can end up penetrating it, and then you're going to make a mess of the liner and definitely have more stoppages. You have to be very careful with the liner. Okay, we're going in, we're making our turn. We got a lot of ripples right here in this turn, which the ripples are somewhat common. That's got quite a bit of ripple in it right there. That's a little bit more than you'd normally see. That can catch paper, catch wipes especially. You have to be very careful with sanitary wipes, children wipes, child wipes. This way you don't end up having soft stoppages where they get hung up on this ripple right here, and then you have a soft stoppage and have to get it cleared. We go in, we got a pretty considerable crack and a break in the saddle area, as you can see right there, at about the 7 o'clock area. As you're looking at the face of that pipe, you can see that crack and the opening in there, and we had some root intrusion. We can see the minor roots at the top, and that's the city sewer saddle connection. There appears to be an issue there. That looks like it's broken, and a very large crack going all the way around. There's an offset and a pretty big gap right there as well. You can see that gap. You see the whole face of the pipe right there. We would recommend that if you're going to do anything right now, you should put a top hat liner A top hat liner should be installed over the other liner, should be lapped. There may be an issue possibly with that ripple in it. That may have to be cut out from the backside, possibly. And then they can lap that top hat liner over this, and it seals it together. It supports that saddle area. It keeps roots from growing in, and also keeps the saddle area from cracking and shifting further. We're going to just go in a little bit further. Yeah, there's a pretty big issue right there at the saddle area. Saddle area is chipped down at the bottom at about the 6 o'clock area pretty good. They may have had a lot of stoppages and run a lot of snakes through there, and that will cause a lot of issues as well. I'm trying to get a good shot of the face of that, so we're going to push in real slow. There we go. Pull back. Again, that's a pretty big shift right there. Pretty big shift and separation right there. So I believe that the best thing to do right here would definitely be to put that top hat liner in. And yeah, that's very large crack right there at the saddle. They went as far as they could go. They actually went a little bit further than what they were supposed to go with the liner, and they lapped over this area. It should have been about a foot back further by code. And then you put the top hat liner over it. Wouldn't have gotten this ripple in there. Okay, we're going to begin. We're going to pause for a moment. We're just going to locate this area, and we're going to mark this area. Okay, we've marked this area in the street, and we are at approximately 7 foot 8 inches deep. We marked it with a small dot of orange paint in the street. Now we're going to begin pulling back. And as I said, that's a very large ripple in that turn down at the bottom. And again, you have to be very, very careful when you have a liner in a sewer line that you don't run a snake with blades, a cable with blades, and tear the liner up. And there's the other large bubble. Shouldn't have a large bubble in that. It just didn't adhere to the vitreous clay piping the way that it should have. Now that joint right there, that adhered very well, and it's very smooth. And most of the joints in the liner look to be pretty smooth. Don't see a major issue That's another vitreous clay joint that they lapped over. Probably had a lot of root intrusion in the line, and quite often that's the CIPP cured in place piping liner is good to cover up the joint so the roots don't continue to grow in. If they don't have water dripping through the joints, they don't generally continue to grow in. It all depends how aggressive the root mass is. That area got a little bit of ripple on the left hand side. Not terrible. And now we're pulled back and we're into our ABS plastic piping. And it looks like they kind of ran the ABS plastic sewer piping a little bit wild. They ran it long. It's not actually connected with a coupling or a joint. They pushed it into the 6-inch piping. So you can possibly get root intrusion coming back from behind you from the lip of the liner back behind it. ABS plastic inspection tee looks to be in fair and maintainable condition. We have a longer length of ABS plastic piping. Coming back toward our clean out. The joint here, like I said, a little bit of overpour on glue, a little debris in there, but shouldn't cause any harm. Now we're pulling back up and out of our mainline sewer clean out. And we're just going to turn around and we're going to show the area where we installed the flag, and then we had the other area right in front of the flag where we marked it with crayon. And that was our 4-inch to 6-inch city lateral transition. The city sewer is the responsibility of the homeowner from their property line, which is right about the sidewalk area, to the city sewer tie-in connection, which is in the street, generally about in the middle of the street. And that's at the city sewer tie-in connection. That would conclude our video sewer inspection.